This is John Moore with my 1959 Ford Thunderbird J Code. This is an extremely rare car, and today we're going to talk about air induction systems that were factory for the era. I'm going to talk about ram air induction system. I'm going to talk about cooling the engine, which is the heat issues have plagued most big iron American cars in the 50s and the 60s. And if you'll notice on the 59 Thunderbird, it has an air intake system that is actually functional. This air intake system is 20.5 inches wide, approximately 1 inch high. The flow rate on the design is excellent for what they should have incorporated into their vehicle. Now the unfortunate thing is because they did not incorporate ram air into their systems of the era, the cold air that came into the engine compartment stayed on top and filtered out through the fenders. So it actually worked against heat issues. It kept the heat down in the motor. Now next I'm going to show you the factory air induction system. This is the factory air induction system, and you can see that it's quite limited. Now the 430 Lincoln motor that was put into the Thunderbird for 59 and 60, the 430 was built not for performance, but it was built for lugging around a 5,600 pound car with 5 people and luggage. And 430 cubic inches was the biggest for the era. Now on the factory air intake, this ducting lays right over the exhaust manifold. And this gets 165 degrees, flows up, and then you'll see it's spring loaded, which collapses the duct and allows for the air to come out from the engine compartment. Unfortunately, it was still extremely hot, and you would have issues of overheating. Now let's take a look at the air induction system. And the 430 Lincoln engine was every Ford hot rodder's dream back in that day. And all she had to do was make these things breathe. These Thunderbirds came out factory with 2-inch exhaust. And then combining the 2-inch exhaust with the 5-inch intake of their air induction system, pretty much it was a choking engine from the get-go. I'm going to go back to the other side. Now when I got the car, I ran it on a 92-degree day, and of course the gas boiled in the carburetor, had instant vapor lock, and the power steering fluid boiled. It was too hot, and that air induction system, which was wrapped right around the exhaust, that heat would travel up to the air cleaner, which was 165 degrees and extremely hot. So in order to address the heat issue, I've wrapped the fuel lines to the carburetor and to the pump with the vacuum line that'll reduce down 15 degrees of heat. I am also putting a 900 CFM electric fan on the front hidden side of the radiator to help reduce heat. Now what you're looking at is part of my ram air induction system. You have the molding that surrounds, and then right here is the air induction system of the hood. Now, the ram air system is taking up about 70% of that frontal air coming off the hood. The left side and the right side section of the air intake grill, that air is funneled down through the motor to help cool the motor. Now, when I built this unit, I had three chief concerns. Number one was, will the ram air actually work, and how do I get it to its full potential? And that was done through designing a baffle system. So in other words, when you have ram air coming into the system, it has to go somewhere if it's not being used by the carburation. So this is developed with baffles on the left side, in which the cold air rotates around and exits out here. This cools this section of the motor and actually works extremely well. The seal compresses about a ½ inch against the hood and works extremely well. This is the prototype, and I'm going to build 4 or 5 of these prototype units. Now, I had other concerns, such as the amount of air and the pressure of the air inside my ram air system. If you're going over 30 miles an hour, that's a pretty great amount of air to be right in this unit. So the baffle system does work, and it is correct as far as amount of opening. So in other words, I drove it at 85 miles an hour, and I expected to have flutter from the rubber here, so air escaping, and that did not happen. Also, to my surprise, after I ran it out on the freeway on a 90-degree day, is that everything was cool to the touch. The air cleaner, the valve cover was cool to the touch. The whole engine was not overheating. Now, this air induction system, I've only designed it for the 430J code, as you see it. Now, this system exceeded all my expectations. The heat of the motor is way down. The engine compartment heat way down, dramatically 20 degrees from what it was. The fuel lines are not hot. I don't have gas boiling in the carburetor. And you can tell the difference with that fresh air induction system in horsepower. So combining the 2.5 inch exhaust with my ram air system, I feel I'm getting an honest 25 to 30 more horsepower out of this old iron block. And that is the front opening. You can see how it's recessed down. It's fully mated against the hood opening. It's a tight fit. It's right. And so far I am extremely pleased with this. And I'll get you another photo from over here. Okay, thank you for watching.